C'est si facile de faire le bien, pourquoi le mal? N'auras-tu donc aucun chemin, aucun idéal? N'auras-tu jamais un peu de morale?
Les fleurs du mal, les fleurs de lys perdent leurs pétales, c'est pareil, c'est pareil. Les jeux du bal, les jeux du vice, ça m'est égal s'ils ne m'emmènent pas au ciel.
Wow.
Bravo! Bravo! I think that was the first time I've ever seen Les Fleurs du Mal presented this up close, and that was the best version of Les Fleurs du Mal that I've ever seen in many lifetimes, guys. And hello and welcome to our CGTN special program, The Hype, where minds collide and ideas amplify. I'm host Julian Waghann. In our studio right now, we have Jean-Marco Scaretti, as well as Laurent Bon, who play the lead roles in the French musical Don Juan, as well as my colleague joining me right now. We have Meiping, our CGTN reporter, and also joining us right now is Nicolas Talar.
Hello, ni hao.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to
Thank you for welcoming us.
It's great to have you, Nicolas. I'd like to also invite all of our viewers who are watching right now to share your thoughts and comments. Now, just moments earlier, we've seen a sneak peek of the famous French musical Don Juan, which is now touring in China.
Yeah.
Did you guys know, by the way, the French musicals are really popular here in China right now?
Yeah. Well, I must admit, the first time I came here was nearly around 20 years ago with different musical, and year after year, I can see the incredible appreciation of the audience, the Chinese audience. They're crazy, more and crazy, and so several generations are following us. Mozart rock opera, always with my great producer, Mr. Nicolas Talar, of course, and now Don Juan.
All right, now we've actually got a clip of those. Let's take a look.
Il est foutu le temps des cathédrales, la foule des barbares. Qui fait belle, l'Église passe par le supplice, baisse les armes dans tes larmes.
Ouch.
That's hurt.
Spoiler,
Spoiler.
spoiler, spoiler.
Well, I have to say, it looks like karma has really caught up with Don Juan at the end. What's happening without spoiling the story?
Well, I think, I mean, right now it's pretty, it's well known, this version of the show. So, Don Juan lives this kind of redemption in the second act. So, there is this kind of damnation when he falls in love with Maria. And during this process, during this beautiful process, human process, he did so many bad things in life that he realized how badly he just used his time in his life, So he doesn't want to defeat Raphael, his opponent, and he basically decided to suicide himself, So he just totally throw the swords and is ready to die. And that's technically what you saw.
And he dies beautifully. And I heard my producer was telling me that both of you have actually opened accounts on Chinese social media platforms. Did you guys know, Laurent, that you've been hailed as a musical ambassador of China and France?
Ooh. Honestly, no. It's the first time, no, because this year is perfect. The 16th anniversary for the relationship between China and France, so it's perfect. We are very symbolic. This venue is very symbolic, so we are very happy. I'm very happy. Yeah.
Exactly. This musical comes as a great gift as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of diplomatic ties between China and France. Laurent, you've actually toured in China many times before, doing musicals as well as solo concerts, and I heard that you've also collaborated with local artists as well. What was that like?
Honestly, year after year, I can see many different musicals in China with incredible artists. They are better and better. And I met a singer called Chesen, powerful voice, and there are a lot of fans already in China. So I'm sure more and more we're going to collaborate together. I'm sure it will be great.
And there was also the pipa. You playing with the pipa player. Was it?
Oh yeah.
La Symphonie or la
It was a version I wanted to symbolize the of course the relationship with the Asian style music. So there was a very beautiful instruments behind, and I did a special arrangement from La Symphonie with this Chinese instrument. That's beautiful.
That song went viral on Chinese platform, Belle.
Exactly.
And you know, so did you, John, with that beautiful song you did, rendition of Belle at the CMG Spring Festival Gala. What was that? Was the CMG Spring Festival Gala anything like you've experienced before or had imagined before?
It was really fascinating the way we could see how much tension, but also how many expectations there were just behind the project, you know, and to see so many people performing, so many artists performing on that stage, coming from so many different places, you know, from China and Asia, it was simply breathtaking. And I think that, you know, the way we mixed up the French culture and the French language with the Chinese language and culture was actually pretty cool, let me say that.
Well, I hope it didn't take too much of your breath, so you were out of breath while you were actually doing the song. But which one is it? Which one was more, you know, had more pressure for you, doing the musical or doing that gala?
Definitely that gala.
The gala?
Yeah, because, you know, this is kind of a, anyway, one shot, you know, so it's basically related to the TV screen live moment, so you can't miss that opportunity.
But with musicals, you could be fired.
No, musical.
And our
No, that's
producer,
true.
Nicolas, is listening right now, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that
Nice.
when you perform at the theater, I agree with you, you know, that there's no one show like the other. But exactly because of that, you know that there's no show like the other one. And that's the magic of the theater, that's the magic of life. But you perform every day.
Yeah.
So you live with the fact that there's no perfection and you take your baggage with you on stage. Which means that sometimes, someday you are just more tired, someday you're just full of joy, someday you're sad, you accept it and you perform, and maybe, you know, you find out some new colors, who knows.
And there's no recording also. No recording on stage. But the day you record, you have to be big, perfect, the best.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure you were perfect, or, you know, you found perfection in imperfection, and
People
that's probably why.
People say I die really well, yes.
And what does Nicolas say about that, Nicolas? You produced the French musical Notre-Dame de Paris, as well as the bilingual version of Belle for the CMG Spring Festival Gala. Which one was more challenging for you?
It's two different experiences. I think bringing Notre-Dame de Paris or Don Juan in China is really rewarding to see the audience loving this show. And Laurent is also coming with Mozart, and we are also producing Mozart, which is coming next month in China. So bringing all this French musical to China is really enjoyable. And this is, as Laurent said, coming 20 years from now to what the audience we have now is such an achievement that we enjoy that. Preparing the Spring Time Festival was also a big challenge. And the bilingual version was challenging. And we had like some moments to prepare it, and we work on the French pronunciation with the Chinese singer. So that was quite a challenge. But when it was the moment to have the French singer singing Chinese, was also a big challenge. But I think everybody did it very, very well. And we really appreciated it.
I think you guys pulled it off really, really well, Nicolas, and our, you know, John right here. And of course, you know, you had the pressure of 1.3 people watching you at the same time. That was something that you don't usually get for a musical.
It would have been better not to know that.
Actually, speaking of the bilingual version, we have a mutual colleague, Coco from CGTN Français. Remember, we were both at Super Night.
Yes,
I was talking to her the other day because we all love French musicals, and she said she's your Chinese teacher for the show.
Yes.
She helped Julian and the other two foreign singers with the Chinese
lots of
lyrics.
love to her.
Yeah.
I thought that she had taught the Chinese singers how to sing in French.
Yeah.
But she also taught Jean how to speak
Chinese.
Chinese.
So did you like master the Chinese lyrics right away, or you struggled with it for a while?
I struggled, you know. I mean, on those, I'm just continuing the sentence of Nicolas. When we shared the struggles, you know, on that day when we prepared the events. I mean, they were just sharing with our wonderful Chinese artist friends, and they were coming to us saying, "How can I say that?" And then we were there, you know, kind of mastering, saying, "Well, you know, open the mouth, close the and then on the way, you know, vice versa. Oh my God, how can I say that? Well, you know, just be careful with the accent, you know, with the tone, where you're going." So it was it was a strong community moment, you know, and that was really memorable. And I do love learn languages.
Well, that
For me, it's also kind of a strong way to morally pay back to the country that is, you know, welcoming you and guesting you.
You know what? We got a viewer online asking if it was the real you, not the AI you seen at the CMD Spring Festival Gala.
Okay,
and I think
I think
there's only one way to find out, which is to have him sing right now, right?
Yes.
Now, how about a line for us right now?
Which song would you love to, from the
Chinese part.
The Chinese part?
The Chinese part, yeah.
Okay. 我不管穿过大气铺塞的裙摆，我的青春奔跑着那年的告白。
I think our viewer is probably bot right now. He's not saying anything, so you're good. You're good. It's not an AI. It's because I actually have, both of us, we have an AI avatar. And so a lot of times my friends will be calling me saying, I really love that, you know, KFC story you did. I'm like, what did I do?
Even my parents couldn't tell if that's me or my AI avatar.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Maybe we should get an avatar too. What do you think?
So, yeah. Every night like this. Nicolas, okay. We find a way.
All right. You know, good comments and questions have been pouring in online since we started this live streaming. So why don't we take a question from our viewers online? Now, here is one question. Let's take a look at this one. This viewer is asking, what's unique about this interpretation of Don Juan is that he actually falls in love and he dies at the end for love. And is this a passionate pursuit of love for dramatic purposes, or is it a reflection of Latin sensibility in general? John?
Well, there's a big, you know, drama underlying, you know, the passion underlying the entire story, you know. But that's also what I think people really appreciate about, you know, the French musical style, that there is always this kind of incredible emotional journey, you know. You have it with Notre-Dame, you have it with, in this case, with Don Juan. And I do believe, as I said when we opened the streaming, it's a wonderful human journey of the character, of the main role, because, you know, in the first half it's just he represents the cliche of Don Juan, you know, really bad with people, you know, arrogant, libertine, but in a bad way, and then he realizes what he has done in his life, and it's a big, you know, it's a big transition, it's a big moment, and of course, you know, I think you by killing himself, you have this kind of, you know, hero journey, you know, and at the end, it's kind of a redemption of the character.
Wow, that's deep. Laurent, how do you see it?
Is that too philosophical?
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect Don Juan to be so deep.
Well, yeah, it's a two and a half hours of a good and deep, profound journey.
Now, I'm curious though, you know, because you do this every time, and of course, in a play or in a musical, you die according to the story every time. But how would you have done it differently if you had a choice? How would you have done the story differently?
No, I actually do believe that there are other versions of Don Juan in the literature and worldwide that are much more connected to the cliché personality of the character. And I do believe that this version is absolutely one of the most interesting, because you have the journey, you have the wave, you know. And as an actor, that's one of the biggest challenge, but also this is one of the most fascinating vibe to carry with you. You know, so you're never flat. You're always, you know, a constant wave of emotions, and it's a lovely journey. I mean, it drains you at the end, but that's exactly when you get, you know, a great connection with your colleagues and with the audience.
And what does your partner in crime in the musical say about that, Laurent?
Not in crime. I'm the partner. I try to save him. The whole show, please stop it, stop it. But you can see his friends going to nearby the comment la falaise, the cliff.
He hit the cliff.
And he tried to keep his hand, but finally he's falling. So, but the thing is, you know, for me, symbolically, my character, Don Carlos, is kind of like the yin-yang symbolic, you know. He's the darkness, Carlos is the light. He tried to give him some light inside his heart, inside his soul, to try to save him. He loves him as a great friend, they are friends from childhood, certainly. But he tried to explain him, you must be romantic, the real love, when it will come to you, you will find, maybe it won't be so beautiful because you are this kind of person who don't love yourself. So how can you love somebody else if you don't love yourself? And there's many, as Jan said, a great journey and the final twist. That makes the story very interesting. And finally at the end, he just sees his friend living and say,
yes,
I told you.
I was going to say, he loves me so much that when I die, he just simply stands and he accepts this.
Yes, and I say, I told you.
I told you, yeah. Morally, intellectually saying, I told you.
I told you.
Now that is so interesting because to me, it seems as though that you can't really look at Don Juan as himself. You really have to see both Don Juan and his buddy to see the whole of Don Juan. He's sort of like the different, another aspect of Don Juan who really wants to live in flesh and who really has not realized that part of himself yet, as he tries to do that on this quest in life.
And now, you know, I was joking, but it is like Don Carlos already knows what's going to happen, you know.
Yeah.
There is this always constant journey. Even Isabel, one of the female role, at the beginning of the show, already kind of announced that it's not gonna, you know, turn out in a good way for Don Juan.
But it's a beautiful lesson for Don Juan.
It's a beautiful lesson, and as I said, it's not. He is absolutely aware of where he's going to go, you know, where he's going to end up, and I also most of the time when I'm not too involved in the drama, I also try to make the like this kind of acceptance, with this kind of smile coming throughout my face and my mouth when I'm going to die, because it's really I'm realizing that, and that's the only end I could have in the show, in the plot.
People say music goes straight to the heart, and of course it bypasses all those inhibitions, doubts, and fears. And for you, when you sing, how has music allowed you to follow your heart as you know, as a person in life?
Well, that's a huge question, in the way that, you know, music has been part of my life since I was a kid, and to me, as an actor, playing mostly, you know, opera or musical, I feel really honored, because when you have the opportunity to tell a story or to explain the journey of a character, of a role, throughout music, it's a real gift. I feel really privileged, because you know, lyrics are touching, you know, the soul, and the music always lives and floats in your heart. So it's a perfect combination, and I think it's the best package that people can carry home when they come to see a musical at the theater. So music is absolutely a must.
And what about for you, Laurent? Has music changed your life?
Of course, totally. You know, before being an entertainer or being an actor, a singer, I was a painter. And suddenly I changed totally my path, because when you are a painter, you're alone all your life. You and yourself try to express something and share it with the audience only during the exhibitions several months later. But on stage, at the moment you put your feet and the first step on stage, you just feel something just incredible, just powerfully, and the sharing with the audience is immediately. So I wanted to feel this adrenaline all my life. I said, I want to do this. I knew at the first second I did it, I will do it till the end of my life. So I wanted to repeating this the most as I can, you know, and it healed me. Now I feel better, and all I did all my life is with heart, of course, but with patience. Just try to do what I want, what I choose, freedom, but following my own path. So people in front of you, they feel it, they can feel it, and sharing the most as I can.
You made a great choice. By the way, that was the best changing career. I'm thinking about changing my career too, if I could do the same.
Come on.
And speaking of change, you guys, you know, audiences went wild when you guys performed at the curtain call the song Changer, right? Coincidentally,
Yes.
Changer, and especially during the flamenco part, the
Yeah.
flamenco dance. How does that go?
Wonderful.
It was that also, you know, that's part of the great journey.
Yeah.
And I always say, it's not the way you learn the discipline in this way, in this case, flamenco and fence, you know, and how to fence. It's how natural you're doing that on stage then, you know, that's the that sparkling, you know, moment that defines your performance.
Well, let's be in the moment right now.
Oh, you want
I was waiting for
you
that.
want to have the moment
I
right
was waiting for that during
Let's
the
be
whole
in the
show.
moment.
just the reprise of the show.
All right.
Okay.
Whoa.
Let's
Curtain
prepare.
call.
Let's prepare.
No, clap.
Ankles are ready, feet are ready.
A little stretching here and there. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Cameras are ready. Yes.
And we're applauding.
Shall we go?
I'm ready.
And go.
Wow. Bravo!
Wow.
谢谢.
How long did it take you to learn that?
2 hours.
Wow.
no, it's a joke.
2 hours.
It took
okay,
a lot.
Okay.
You shouldn't even
It
ask.
took a lot of time. But I mean, for the French tradition, and I also come from Italy, you know. So these two countries are not pretty spontaneously familiar with such an incredible, intense way of dancing. You know, flamenco is very passionate, and it's absolutely related to the Spanish Latin world. Yeah. So we needed to get used to this kind of, you know, intensity, and but I think we really have to thank, you know, our choreographer Carlos Rodriguez, but also the incredible dancers, because when you tour with them, you just, you know, experience constantly this kind of intensity, passion, vibes. They are always full of energy, and you just, you know, get surrounded by it, and at the end you just follow them.
Yeah.
And you know that you are on the right path.
I see that right now. I see that right now.
And when we're on stage as actor, we just stop sometimes, just look at them and just enjoying ourselves as we are a spectator of the stories. And
That's interesting because now, did you learn the dance just for this musical?
Yes.
You did?
Yes. I remember back in 2019, before starting rehearsals, then obviously we couldn't perform the show for obvious reasons, but I went to school. I was in Germany, so I found a flamenco teacher, and I took lessons, because, you know, but this is also, I think, the best way to move on and move forward in this industry, in this business, just to raise the bar and try to, you know, reach that achievement, and then another step, another step, another step.
Thanks.
Always, you know, always with passion, and you always enjoy the process, okay? It's not always that you're trying to, I need to get better, I need to get better. You enjoy the process, but I think it's the right key to create a very good background.
And my producer's asking Laurent to teach us how to do that flamenco dance seated. Now, thanks for raising the bar, by the way, for us.
More difficult.
And with no hands and no feet.
No hands, only brain. No, what I could say about flamenco, okay, just because I was learning in another show before, when I was playing Zorro in France, and there was a dancer who told me there's two kinds of gestures, you know, for women and for guys. In general, the girls is more gestures and just, you know, the proudness of the body, you know, intention. And they explained me that you just think about apple, just with your
apple.
With hand.
An apple?
You grab the apple, you eat the apple, and you throw the apple. So when you are on stage, it's like
Oh, that makes a lot of sense actually. Like one.
you grab the apple, you eat the apple, and you throw the apple.
What happened to swallowing the apple?
Well, it's not a gesture; it's more a rap, hip hop. But it's like a.
Then comes Don Juan and it eats the apple.
At the end, is
Don't eat the apple, guys.
and the guy is more clapping. It's more like this. You follow the tone, the okay, and then
Tempo.
after this,
The rhythm?
with okay, boom, 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 contretemps. There's a kind of, you don't go in the tempo. You have to break the tempo, and then use
Oh my
you use
God.
the body. Blah, 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 blah. But we'll take time later.
There is no hope for me, guys.
I think I will give it a try. Like after.
She's actually a dancer. She's actually a dancer. She danced before, so.
Yeah, but the flamingo, this kind of dance is like a new thing, a whole new thing. It's like I can't feel my feet anymore.
A whole
where are my?
world.
But
What can I
wow.
Really? Are you going to sing in front of those guys?
Actually.
But no,
pretty good voice.
I didn't sing. I didn't say anything.
But I heard that since the beginning of the tour of Don Juan, even several months before, because they knew that we would come, many schools of flamenco in China were open. People would go, oh, well, you want to try to learn how to dance in the flamenco. So it opened some vocations of dancers, flamenco vocations in China.
Yeah, it's actually very popular. I was actually interviewing a girl who's learned the flamenco in Spain for 20 years, and she just opened her studio in Beijing for quite a few years now. It's very, very popular with people, especially the young people nowadays.
Incredible.
And I wanted to ask you, Meiping, for you, I know you've reported on a lot of musicals and stage works here in China. What has caught your attention recently with respect to those musicals?
Yeah, actually, I would like to mention some examples to talk about some of the highlights, not just in musicals, but also Chinese performing arts. So we all know that there's a dance. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, the Journey to a Legendary Landscape Painting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
That's
just in Chinese.
beautiful
We have a stage photo
dance drama right there.
on the screen here.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Actually, I think every aspect matches the modern aesthetics, which is the expression of traditional Chinese culture in a modern way. And also, I want to mention a Chinese musical as an example. It's called The Orphan of Belle. It's actually referred to as the Chinese version of Hamlet. So you know what this story is about. Actually, instead of using the original Chinese script, which is from the Yuan dynasty, it's about like 700 years ago, the director actually used an adaptation from the British poet as the script of The Orphan of Belle, the musical, to give the musical a more modern perspective, which is easier for the audience to understand the motivation behind the main character and easier for them to accept the whole story. So I think these two are the examples I want to mention about the contemporary expression of traditional Chinese culture. And another highlight is actually more the other way around, is the interpretations of foreign cultures through Chinese perspectives. And yeah, for this part, I'm going to mention the Chinese musical Hamlet, which Hamlet was played by Jason. You mentioned at the beginning.
I played also Hamlet.
Oh, two Hamlets.
Italian version.
Okay, so yeah, he's a Chinese version of Hamlet. So it's like a fusion of Western and Eastern culture together. So, and also the director used the xie style, which is a form of Chinese ink painting for the stage design.
Wow.
So it's like full of Eastern elements for this Western, tragic. So you can see that Chinese artists are trying to explore a path to musicals with Chinese characters. So I think that's pretty amazing, the highlights I want to mention.
Absolutely.
I love that. Chinese Impressionism, the xie. I really love that. And
I just want to say something about what you said. That's true. In 20 years, I can see the most incredible things I can feel in China is the dynamism and the complete evolving of everything. They use, of course, the ancestor, the big history you have in this country, very old country. But also now it's more and more creating, finding new path, to make it evolving. It's just unbelievable. I think it's the most impressive in the whole world.
That is true. I'm glad you mentioned that. You obviously picked it up as from a Westerner or from an outsider's perspective. And for people in China as well, you see a lot of young people wearing the hanfu, the traditional Chinese clothing,
I love it. Yeah.
everywhere nowadays in China. And there's the phenomenon of China chic, where people are bringing up not just traditional Chinese wisdom and traditional Chinese culture, but they're doing it in such a way that is, really fashionable, that is really new and refreshing for everyone. Yeah. And I'm glad you picked that up.
Yeah, I can see the difference. That's why. No, honestly, I love this way of thinking, this way of evolving, and the dynamism is wonderful. Sometimes we are, in the Western, we maybe are too much close to the old
conservative.
Yeah, conservative. Yeah. We don't try to explore new things. I can feel it more here.
And I know, over the past 20 years, you've done a lot of exploration here in China.
Yes,
did you pick up any Chinese songs or melodies?
Oh, I get yes, but not enough. I should. If I knew I would stay 20 years, I will learn more, even the language. So. But yes, I remember one special song, very famous, of course. And I was even crying on stage, singing this song in the Shanghai Culture Square during a concert, a solo concert, because the audience were singing with me at one point with the lights. It was, oh my God, it's so big. So thousands of people just singing in the same time. That's when I'm talking about sharing with the Chinese audience and the French. It's very powerful.
Which song was that?
It was "Moon Represent My Heart."
Of course. Yes. Now, just in case our viewers don't know that song, maybe you can do a few lines.
I can try. It's like, 你问我爱你有多深，我爱你有几分，我的情也真，我的爱也真。月亮代表我的心。
Wow.
That's beautiful.
I don't know if you can see it, but my ears are misty-eyed right now.
That's true.
That is
that's
so
true.
funny. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose, but I have tears in my eyes right now when I hear that. That was so beautiful. And John, you're something, you are forced to be reckoned with as well. You can do a Chinese song in 6 languages.
Well, technically it was 4 languages, but yes, we worked on that with
plus dialects, socialites.
with the wonderful Wei at the Fuzhou Film Festival, last September. It was iconic, and the setting, the building, the organization of the show, the performance, to be on stage with her. Simply breathtaking, and we worked on that, first in Beijing, then we moved together to Fuzhou, and we started rehearsals there, and an unforgettable moment of my life and my career.
I have a challenge for you. Can you do the song without making me cry?
Of course, I'm sure you're not gonna cry with this song, but just a little frame. 月亮出来亮汪汪亮汪汪，美呀美耶。And then it was the English sentence. If I could turn back the time, I would hold your hand.
Wow. Wow.
I have to say, I love the seat arranging because, I can sit next to those 2 amazing singers and listen to them singing at this distance. So.
Now, what are you trying to say about this side of the room?
I can't.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to turn to Nicolas right now.
Singing.
Let's take a question from our viewers for Nicolas. Nicolas, we've got a question for you from our viewers online. And this question says, you have produced numerous versions of the French musicals for markets around the world. What are the challenges and promising prospects for that the Chinese market presents?
I think the challenge is to come to China is much easier than it was 20 years ago. And I think that, as we said, the market has so much changed in these years that we have some expectation in French musical coming to China, and we built some partnership with local promoter and producers and local theaters that want to bring even more French shows. That's I won't say it's a normal path now, but when we think about producing a show, we think that there is a second market for the French musical, and that would be China. It's really good. It's really good to have these partners. who are really in love with the French musicals.
And Nicolas, we also have to thank you and your father, Mr. Talar. He really broke with traditions in terms of the way he promoted musicals.
France is not a big musical market. It's not like Broadway or the West End. There was like very few success in the musical. So when Luc Plamondon and Richard Cocciante came to him to produce the Notre-Dame, they came first to many of the French, let's say, music producer. Said, "Do you want to produce that show? We just want it." And everybody says, "No, musical is not for France. It doesn't work." And my father just listened Ricardo Cocciante at the piano perform and sings all the songs of Notre-Dame de Paris. And then after, it was longer than the actual show. I think after 3 hours, he says, "Okay, that's fine. I'm convinced. I will produce the show," and he booked the theater. But to make the promotion, my father was like more a music producer than a theatrical producer. So he says he's going to promote and produce the album and promote the songs. And this is how the song Belle became like the #1 songs in the French musical history. And once the song Belle had been a success and a big hit, people wanted to see first the singers on stage. And that's how they came to see the show. And then they discovered what was the actual Notre Dame show. And I think it convinced so many people in France and abroad that we made it a success. And that is 25 years later, we are still touring with the show, having wonderful artists interpreting the parts of Notre Dame. And I would say that it's not only Notre Dame, but it laid the path for many musicals in the world.
Oh, wow, what a beautiful story, the making of
Notre-Dame
de Paris.
And it wasn't only a turning point for France, it was a turning point for the world, for Europe, because I mean, I have also lots of friends, you know, playing in the West End and in the British way of, you know, musicals, the house of musicals, telling me, "Oh my God, I really would love to sing, you know, in that show. I really would love to perform in that show." So it was really like an incredible journey, starting from that moment when, you know, Notre Dame approached to the scene for the first time. And I really think that the musical evaluation, the modern musical evaluation, changed from that day on.
I'd like to say something.
It is a topic.
Oh, sorry. Now we'll say something
really
about Nicolas. Okay, you.
So I don't let you talk.
No.
No, it's really,
Okay.
Well, let's have Nicolas. Let's have you talk first.
No, I just said that Notre Dame. The fact that my father produced Notre Dame is really a turning point in the musical production in France and for the French musical around the world and for artists. But
okay.
Yes.
Now, I want to congratulate the Talar family, because I must say something. I was working with the both. Okay? I was first working with Charles in 2001 in France for Notre-Dame de Paris. Honestly, at this moment of the time, nobody wants to produce any musical. It was a time of the rap in France, of the boys band. Nobody will believe that this kind of show will work. There's one guy who say, "Okay, let's try." It was Charles Talar, Nicolas' father. It was a great success. It was the first one, and everybody after this following. You know, Romeo and Juliet, the Ten Commandments. Everybody wants to do his own musical in France. I mean. And there's one guy who said one day, "Okay, I'm going to try the same in Asia. Why not?" There was no French musical in Asia. Everybody knew, of course, the West End style or the Broadway style. But who would be so crazy enough to say, "Okay, let's try with a French musical. Let's go with Notre-Dame de Paris"? And I remember I was there because he called me, say, "Hey, come, you want to go with me?" It was the first big bet of Nicolas. Nobody will believe it will work. And the first day we just, okay, wow, is it a good idea, really? And now, as you said, 20 years after, it's a huge success all over the world. So this family is crazy, honestly, but they succeed. So, bravo.
Bravo. Thank you so much.
Merci, Laurent.
Non, mais c'est vrai.
Merci, Laurent.
Thank you. You guys really witnessed the history of musicals, not just in Europe, but also around the world everywhere in Asia as well. And speaking of Asia, Meiping, I want to ask you, who are the consumers watching musicals nowadays, and what do they want to see?
For musicals, actually, it's mainly young people. Like I remember reading a report last year, industrial report about the main force of consumption in the performing art market in China. It's actually people from 18 to 34. And this group of people actually accounted for more than, I remember, 76% of the ticket buyers for 3 years in a row. So that's pretty impressive, amazing. And besides, big productions like Don Juan staged in big theaters, small musical theaters with only like 2 to 3 actors, and immersive performances are also gaining momentum in China. So yeah, because I watch a lot of small musical theaters and immersive performances, and I love them. They're so great. And I think audience nowadays are really professional. They write long reviews after each show, right?
True fans.
And, and they ask questions, actually.
Ask questions.
Why did that happen on stage? What is it? Did they well understand that?
Right.
So it's fantastic the way they absorb.
And they are professional about, like, they will ask questions about the logic of the plot, you know, the melody of the music and the costume design.
Everything.
They have some comments on the costume and the stage design, etc. And I think that actually creates a virtuous cycle, because with good productions, they will improve audience ability of appreciation, right? And they will have higher demands for the shows. And so the artists and the production side have to constantly improve themselves in order to satisfy those demands. So I think in this way, the market will get better and better.
You know, speaking of you know, our viewers online, and we actually got a question from our from our fans online, not from our viewers right now. And this question is for the two of you, and it says, the musical Mozart Le Baroque really stands out musically. And how are the different genres of music, from pop to hip hop to rock, shaping musical
shows like Hamilton, for example, worldwide, you know, who broke another line, and it was definitely, I think, the most incredible bet in the last 10 years, because no one could have think to do something like that, and especially to tell a story like that in that way. And then you had the other boundaries to to break and to go over, which is obviously the kind of story you're going to tell, because Hamilton just got viral worldwide, and even if it's pretty connected to America and its generations. So I do believe that we are in a moment now where the musical world has a strong identity, and it has inside a lots of different musics and styles, and people are getting really close to quality, and in the way they choose their what they want to listen to. And I think it's a very strong direction, and I do believe that in the future there would be more and more people trying to perform or to create something new, or to mix things together in a very curious way, because you never know what's going to happen.
Do you think that musical as well is going to be differentiated into different genres, just like pop music nowadays?
Well, I can tell you something which I had the fortune to experience. I can tell you that in the last 10 years, 12 years probably, the musicals are becoming more and more physical, So you're not only a performer, you are an athlete nowadays, which means that this job requires a specific preparation, and it's not one shot, as we were talking before. It's like how to keep the performance high, at a high level, for weeks, months, years. And I do believe that it's becoming a joy for all the senses. So people want to go to the theater, enjoy a performance, and by means a great performance for your ears, for your eyes, for your heart. So whoever goes on stage needs to be aware of that.
Okay. Well, I want to save the last words for our Mozart.
Yeah.
What does he say about that?
I'm going back to Mozart next month in the whole Salieri, and for a big, huge tour after 5 years far away from China. So we're very happy to come back again with this great show. And, as you said, the Chinese audience is very accurate. They want to have a good performance on stage. And I can say that because I saw the generation in 2005, 2006. Some people come to me and say, "Oh, my mother was a fan of you." So, oh my God, I really feel old and honored, of course. But the thing is, I can see the difference with the different generation. More and more, they are more and more accurate. The people who are coming now are not the same that we had 5 years ago. Of course, they're still there, but new ones are coming. They just discovered this kind of shows, and they want powerful plots, a very good story. They want a great scenography. They want good actors, good voices. They don't want to pay for something very cheap and say, "Oh yeah, just music." So we have to give the best, and we have to evolve in the same way. You know, you talk about Hamilton. In France, we have Molière now with this kind of rap style slam musical. So I think we have to evolve with our times. We can't stay the same musical that we did 100 years ago with the kind of operette and apparently in France. Everything is evolving. That's what is incredibly exciting also. Yeah, and as Jan say, we have to. It's like Olympics game, you know. We have to train a lot, like doing a marathon, doing 7, 8 shows, 9 shows every week, and be performing every night in a good way. It's
a demanding schedule. It's a very demanding job.
Yeah.
And so the audiences are very demanding right there. And of course, it shows this is an indirect way of another sign showing that the industry is, of course, maturing. And speaking of the audience, let's take a question from our viewers right now. This viewer is asking from musicals such as Don Juan, even has to go to classics for inspiration. And as actors and producers, to what extent do you stay true to the original classics and to the spirit of innovation and imagination at the same time? This is something that we were touching on earlier. John?
That's a good question, and I think, you know, it's also that's a powerful thought. Generating from the mind of, you know, the composer at that moment. You know, I do believe that like, for example, Notre-Dame de Paris will last forever because the thematic, you know, the points touched by that show are always modern, you know, and people will always tend to identify themselves, you know, in the character they are seeing on stage. I do believe that the only thing that a musical composer should kind of keep always on mind nowadays is to provide a strong identity to every character of the show. And this is what, for example, I do really love about Don Juan, because every character has a proper, solid journey. So, you know, every female on stage has an incredible and different path, and the spectators tend to identify themselves. Yeah. Oh, it happened to me too. Oh my God, how powerful is this woman, you know? And same is for every character, and that's very, very important, because then you can really have people, you know, desiring and yearning to come back and see the show again.
Well, it's a very well-rounded character, all of the characters in the show. And what about for you, Laurent?
Yeah, always the same question is classical are great. The most of the French musical are inspired by classical characters, or you know. So you talk about Notre-Dame de Paris. That's true. What created the longevity of this show is also the arrangement of the music. There's no period. You don't know when it could have been created. 20 years ago, or maybe one year ago.
Yes.
You don't know, because they choose some instruments without age. It's when you hear really the arrangement is just wonderful, beautiful, and terribly not time. How we say in French?
Not obsolete, or you know, yeah.
Yeah, it will never be. And for Mozart, another example, I think that the composer and author say, okay, if Mozart were born now, what kind of music he would do? So that's why they don't want to follow the classical way. They try to find a Mozart who could born maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and if he was born there at this time, he would become a rock star. He would create rock songs, and so they mixed both, and we have this version of Mozart. So voilà, that's my way of vision. You have to evolving.
Well, guys, we're going to have to go and check it out. The show is playing here in China, China. Mozart, l'Opéra Rock, as well as Don Juan and Notre-Dame de Paris. Thank you guys so much for sharing your insights and your love for musicals. And I think there is no better way for us to wrap this up today than sing a line or two from a musical, French or Chinese. Why don't we start with you, Nicolas?
Sometime I go on stage to do the encore. And the singers next to me, they don't want to be next to me because I'm singing too bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they heard it too many times to be affected. So why don't we try it again?
No, I won't do that.
Coming to rescue you, Nicolas, okay? Il est venu le temps des cathédrales, le monde est entré dans un nouveau millénaire. L'homme a voulu monter vers les étoiles, écrire son histoire dans le verre ou dans la pierre.
Voilà.
À quelle étoile, à quel dieu, je dois ces amours dans ses yeux, que le vaut, mais c'est quoi? C'est
Roméo et Juliette.
Oui,
c'est Roméo et Juliette.
Alors?
Okay. I'm sure you all know where this is from. Les rois du monde vivent sommaires. Ils ont le plus belle vue, mais à mai. Ils ne savent pas ce qu'on pense de en bas. Ils ne savent pas qu'ici c'est nous les rois.
Yeah.
Bravo!
I told you I'm a fan.
It's me. Okay. Well, I can talk about what I know in the show. Les femmes, c'est plus beau que les étés sur les plages ensoleillées. Pourquoi ne pas l'avouer? C'est plus beau que les hivers quand la neige blanchit la terre. Et voilà.
And guys, thank you so much. On that high note, we wrap up this edition of our CGTN special, The Hype, where minds collide and ideas amplify. I'm your host, Julian Waghann. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.
谢谢大家，再见。
谢谢。
Au revoir.
Bye bye.